Guys, the CNN debate will most likely go down in history as the worst performance ever by a presidential candidate. Joe Biden's performance was not merely bad, it was deeply concerning. It was one of these historical moments when a conspiracy theory became an obvious reality for the average person. And as we all sat by and watched and witnessed him struggling to form sentences, a coherent thought, one thought came to our collective minds. Who is running America? Who is running it? Because it can't be Joe Biden. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what the left, the Democrats are now trying to push, now the new agenda, the new behind the scenes agenda that they're pushing on us. We're going to talk about all of that and more next. Hello. It is Friday, July 5th. Hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, belated Independence Day. Still got the weekend, so I'm sure many of us will continue celebrating the birthday of America all throughout the weekend. But I'm KJ, and it's Pop and Politics. It's time for Pop and Politics. Again, we are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. Back with us again tonight. We got the Fabulous Three tonight. We have Yana, and then also Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
So as I always say, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. I see all you new subscribers out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, for joining us.
Yes, and thank you for comments. We read all the comments.
We certainly do. We read them all. So I know I saw TD on earlier in there. So welcome. Oh, Abdul, welcome. So thank you guys so much. If you miss us here on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the same name, Pop and Politics. Guys, we are an independent media, and if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand we are living in urgent times, and there is a target on our backs because we choose freedom. But we must continue to stand. Let's stand together, subscribe, so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
All right.
So I want to get right into this. We are still all kind of reeling from this Biden madness. And he's been sort of in the public eye recently. And he's still coming off as really off. So I want to bring you guys this recent clip of him. The poor man doesn't even know what year it is. Take a look at this. This is Biden, I think within the last couple of days.
I'm the nominee of this party because millions of Democrats like you just voted for me in primaries all across America. You voted for me to be your nominee, no one else. You, the votes, the voters did that. And despite that some folks don't seem to care who you voted for, well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. No! Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. And by the way, we're going to do it again in 2024.
So he tried to correct himself, but initially he said I'm gonna beat him in 2020, and then he caught himself and said I'm gonna beat him again in 2024. This is, I mean, it's sad, but it's also very troubling that this is our president. This is not a substitute teacher. This is not the principal who has a drinking problem. This is not the boss of this is the president of the free world. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are this. Number one, he's going to get worse, and by no fault of his own, because he is aging, and he has aged, and he's continuing aging. That's number one. Number two, that shirt that he had on that clip, that was a couple days ago. He wore the same shirt tonight on the George Stephanopoulos interview that he had. I watched that maybe about an hour ago. He wore that same shirt, okay? I'm not saying it wasn't washed and laundered. I know there are many, workers in the White House, but it's the same shirt, okay? Even on that Stephanopoulos interview, you couldn't understand him. That interview, if only thing, it made his donors, his party, more frustrated. Look, I don't know. I think he's going to drop out eventually, but he's delusional. And I'm going to say that in a good sense. He's delusional because he's demented. And most dementia patients, dementia people will have some long-term memory that they can still do X, Y, and Z as if they were still 30 or 40 years younger. So that's my never to be humble opinion on Joe Biden.
Wow. See, and I haven't watched the interview with George Stephanopoulos yet. So I'm glad you did watch it. What are your thoughts on this, Yana?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm pretty sure that those supporters in the audience are paid. It's obvious. I can't imagine people having, hollering and being so excited for Joe Biden. I just can't imagine it. And he's still slurring his speech. We still cannot understand fully what he is saying. So then I watched the clip from the George Stephanopoulos interview, and he keeps repeating that he had a bad night, but it sounds like he's still having a bad night.
Right.
Days later, a week later.
Right.
It doesn't change. Like, he still sounds awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned that, these supporters are paid. I'm not sure about that. Take a look here. This is Joy Reid, and she's one of those supporters. I guess in a way she's being paid, but look at this. She's unhinged now. She is unhinged.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play in traffic all you want in front of these Republicans, acting a fool in front of these people instead of privately declaring your stuff. But don't text me no more, because I'm not taking no more of these texts. Just let me know when you guys are finished figuring it out, Democrats, because I know y'all the freak out people. Go ahead and freak out, have your conversation, and then let me know who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. That's it. I'm done. Oh, and by the way, if it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma.
Wow.
I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policy, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Hitler, White House. We keeping him out. Keeping Project 2025 out. That's all I care about. Up and down the ballot, from the rooter to the tutor. School board, all the way up to White House and everything in between. Governors, members of Congress. I'm just going to vote all the way down to keep these people out. The Project 2025 thing is the whole Republican Party. At this point, it's not about Biden.
Okay. So, I mean, this woman, first of all, you heard what she said. This is the Democrat way anyway. They say no matter who is running, you must vote Democrat. And she mentioned from the rooter to the tutor, you're not looking at policy, you're not looking at individuals. We had someone, I can't remember if it was one of us or someone on the show who said they remember living in the city, and Democrats would come by and they would bust people, old people, people who couldn't have a car, and they tell them just vote Democrat all the way down. And that's what she's saying. I mean, what's your response, Shelley?
My response is this: she took that hair off her head, and now she is good and crazy. Okay. I don't know if she should have left Trump's hair on, but since she took it off, she is really out of this world now. Literally, she is unhinged. She's apoplectic, and that's number one. Number two, more importantly, this is how the left downplays and minimizes significant events, if you will, in history. They keep comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, right? But in doing that, what they're doing is minimizing the travesty that Hitler actually committed. So you throw around Hitler's name so much, it becomes meaningless, if you will. Donald Trump has never murdered anyone, let alone 6 million Jews, plus millions of other groups of people. He's never done that. Just because you don't like his politics does not mean that he is Hitler. But the left does this with a lot of things. They use the word racism and all these other isms and phobias to the point that they become almost meaningless in their context and in their significance.
Yeah. Yana, what are your thoughts to what she said?
Well, first of all, Joy Reid, without the hair, she doesn't look better. She looks scary. I mean, she looks like a plucked bird of some sort. Like, she needs to do something. I mean, put a different one. I don't know. Anyway, she just looks scary. And with those, anyway, I'll stop. And keep repeating that Trump is Hitler. It's so ridiculous, because if there was some sort of Nazi organization, they would not accept Trump, because he would not be a good Nazi, because during his administration, well, I was just reading, for example, okay, so Black people had an unprecedented levels of economic success. He passed the school choice legislation, so people, including Black people, were able to choose their schools. Then funded historically Black colleges and universities. What kind of Hitler does that?
No, I know.
So, like, it's so, I mean, they're just repeating for the masses who are not doing any kind of research, not looking into anything. The same thing, the people who keep saying he's racist, he's Nazi. It's just words that have no basis in reality.
Yeah. Before I move on, I want to acknowledge our super chatters. You guys are amazing. All right, who do we have here? We have Big Dog. Hey, Big Dog. Says, I think it's too late to replace him. Only way they will pick a new candidate is if he volunteers himself to drop out. Keep bringing the smoke, my conservative queens. Thank you so much. And Abraham's back. Hey, Abraham, he says, when will the average Democrat realize that their party doesn't exist anymore? The Democrat Party died with Bill Clinton.
That's because there's no average Democrat. 99.9% of them are left.
Yeah, and they've been infiltrated. I mean, when you think about what we have going on here, and a lot of us saw this, a year ago at least, what's going on with Biden, we're becoming a lot like Canada. If you remember, Justin Trudeau, when he came into office as the prime minister, prior to that, he was just a high school drama teacher. And you have Klaus Schwab, the head of the WEF, they had an agenda in Canada. They said that they were going to infiltrate Canadian government, or penetrate, I should quote, they said penetrate the Canadian government and push forward policies and ideas. And now we see the states of our president, Biden. He's being influenced. He's being infiltrated and penetrated in probably more ways than one. We don't know who's running our government. We kind of know. We know that it's some type of global elite, some type of agenda going on, But this is scary times. It's not us, the people, it's him, and he doesn't know what's going on.
Nope. No. Our Constitution says that the power is vested in him, a president, and then the succession, of course, is the vice president. But we have, I believe, you have Jill Biden. I'm going to call her the evil bitch, Jill Biden, and the drug addict Hunter Biden sniffing everything he can that's not nailed down. They are grifters. They are professional political grifters of their father and husband, and they are up to no good. They want to remain in power, and this cannot stand. I've been calling on our Supreme Court and our Congress as co-equal branches of our government to have an immediate investigation to find out who really is, because these people were not elected.
No, they weren't. As you mentioned, we have the cabinet members, we have the bureaucrats behind him giving him orders while Biden sleeps. And till what he only has a certain window of the day where he's somewhat cognitive, and the rest of the time he's sleeping. And then you have people within his administration, who knows who, pretty much running the show. Yep. Running the show. And this is why we have these destructive policies that we see going on. Basically, it's the New World Order. It's the New World Order. And this is scary stuff. This is really scary stuff. This is why the Chevron decision that just came down from the Supreme Court was so important. We got to get this guy out of here. And I mean, it is more important now than any that he is not reelected. He is not put back in the White House, because the man is just not there. It's
That's a good point that you said, KJ, that we're turning into Canada, because I've spoken to some Canadians and they're definitely not happy what's going on there. They have their, I guess, their federal government is totally in control of the entire country. So the only difference that we have is that we have states' rights. That's really what is still keeping America free, relatively, compared to Canada. And people are still looking at America from other countries as an example of how to have more freedom because of these states' rights. And so I think that whoever is behind Biden, they definitely want to eradicate that. They want to take away states' rights. They want to take away gun rights from citizens, because once you do that, then people cannot defend any of their rights.
Right. Not only that, but as you mentioned, we saw here in Canada, their immigration is out of control. And that is, it's all by design. That's the first step towards a global government, globalization. It's a massive influx of uncontrolled immigration, no borders. And so then we have sort of like this global economy, this global government taking over. And we're seeing it's in Canada, and now you see it's going on here, and they're pushing this, and not much pushback against it. So, all of these things we need to watch and really take heed of. It's scary times. It's scary times. And then you have them lying and covering up for this man. We had our Governor Wes Moore, here from Maryland, was at the White House lying through his teeth, lying. I don't understand how anybody can believe these people, but here he is. Several Democratic governors went to the White House to kind of save face, try to keep the cover up going for, the generation of Biden. And here they are here. Take a look. All right. This is our Governor Wes Moore talking about they had a conversation, a very honest conversation with Biden.
It was a great conversation with the president and vice president because it was honest. It was candid. I think that, we always believe that when you love someone, you tell them the truth. Oh. And I think we came in and we were honest about the feedback that we were getting. We were honest about the concerns that we were hearing from people. And we're also honest about the fact that as the president continued to tell us and show us that he was all in, that we said that we would stand with him. Because as Governor Walz said, the president has always had our backs. We're going to have his back as well. Because the results that we've been able to see under this administration have been undeniable in all of our individual states. But the thing that makes us most optimistic and most hopeful is not necessarily that we're afraid of an alternative, but also is that we're hopeful for the future. And so we know we have work to do. We know that as we're standing right here, we're behind.
Again, they are behind Biden. What about being behind the people?
And Biden already forgot this conversation that he's talking about.
Yeah, they are behind the people that are supporting them. But what's interesting, two things to me, is that they chose, or Wes Moore was chosen to be one of the people that talked to have this honest conversation with Biden. And number two, notice what he said. It's not that they're afraid of an alternative. Basically, that's code word. We don't want Kamala. Okay. That's code speak, but we do not want Kamala. So we got to talk to this demented, cognitively degenerated man who really doesn't understand anything from week to week, if not day to day. So they're playing this game, and they got Wes Moore, I think, because he's this Obama-esque, because he's this black man. And every time I see his bald head, you know what I want to do? I want to grab a bottle of Windex. That's what I want to do. I want to grab a bottle of Windex and a roll of paper towels. He's so phony. He gets on my nerves.
Yeah. Yana, what's your response to them? Again, going along the party line.
Right. He's just talking. He's being a politician. Like I said, Biden doesn't even remember that conversation. Wes Moore knows this. They all know it. They understand that this is futile. They're just trying to save face. And like Shelley said, they're putting this guy to speak for Biden now to, I guess, prop up the image of Biden. So they're putting this young black governor to make the Democrat Party look better. I don't know. It's like total damage control. It feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of that, I mean, as you mentioned, Shelley, they're not on board with Kamala Harris either.
Because she can't speak either. Like Trump said, she speaks in rhyme.
You
She speaks in like nursery rhymes, and she keeps repeating herself.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a clip here of CNN roundtable talking about her, and pretty much saying she is complicit. If she is put out front, she's going to take a hammering as well, because all these months, going on a year, she was pushing and backing Biden as this phenomenal, strong mind. And we can see that it's not the case. She was lying. Take a look here. CNN of all places pointing this out.
Clear front runner, and it's not clear who, if anybody, would actually challenge her for the nomination. But the thing is that she, we talked about credibility. She's going to have to, first of all, answer the fact that she's been one of the main public validators of his health. Remember, after her report, she went out there and said he is with it. He is commanding everything in the room. She's going to have to sit down and answer tough questions. And we talked about Joe Biden hasn't really been out there with reporters. Kamala Harris, besides that initial CNN and MSNBC interview right after the debate, she hasn't really been out there answering questions. And they're going to be, if Joe Biden drops out, the first week that she is out there is going to be critical. So if there's any signs of chinks in the armor, there are many, as you just said, there are many people in the wings that are ready to pounce as soon as she shows weakness.
Yeah. So there you have it. Shelley, what are your thoughts there?
My thoughts are that they don't want Kamala Harris. They're trying to say and pretend and use all of these fancy words, and they don't want her. And they are afraid to say that. They're afraid to say that because she's a black woman, right? And they definitely don't want their party to be wiped out and all the black women that support the Democrats to leave. They are on a thin line, and they're really trying to find their way as to how they get through this time right here.
Yeah. As you mentioned, she's a black woman. Take a look here. This is her really showing off her blackness. Take a look.
That's her husband over there in the jeans. See that?
Oh my gosh. And look, y'all know I love to dance, right? Y'all know I have nothing against dancing. Don't get me wrong. I love to dance. But she just looks stupid and goofy and just so unserious all the time. That's the problem.
She's really phony. I mean, it's just super phony. It's like she's acting all the time. This is not, it just feels like everything that she does is not natural for her. I don't know what she is in reality, like what she is like at home. Because if she is at home the way that she is in public eye, can you imagine living with her? Like that would be a nightmare.
I feel Yana, I think she's like this all the time. And when she's trying to be serious, that's when she's being phony.
I
think
don't
it's just
know.
opposite.
I don't know. Well, and I mean, everyone.
Pandering. It's
Yeah.
pandering. It's not real. You know, all of this is just photo ops and video ops and things like that. They are so fake and phony. And this is why Trump became so popular, because love him or hate him, you know, right or wrong, he is always just Trump. Donald J. Trump. Wherever he is, he's going to act the same way, whether he's around young people, old people, black, white. It's just Donald Trump all the time. And this is just so phony.
And everyone knows she was chosen for her skin color, not for her brains or for her experience.
Exactly.
And everybody knows this. And now they're terrified that this DEI person is going to possibly be the candidate or possibly the next president of the United States. And I think that is terrifying for them. How is she going to be dealing with world leaders?
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is their same line, their same routine. They're always dancing. I guess they feel like, I guess they've done some type of market research and people like to see them dancing. So they don't have any real policy solutions. Our DA of Baltimore City did the same thing. When she got in trouble with the law and she was getting a lot of bad press, every other time, she's dancing somewhere. She's dancing somewhere. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's sad that this stuff actually works.
Right.
People, the electorate, they see these people dancing, doing a jig or whatever, and then it's like, oh, I love her. Oh, I love him.
Like she said, like Donna said, she's the DEI selection, and guess what? She's going to demand her DEI progression to the White House. That's what she's going to demand.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge our super chatter here. Shungu says the rest of the world is behind Americans taking back their government. It's 1776 all over again. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, when I wanted to ask the viewers to comment where they're watching from. So that would be interesting.
Yes, that certainly would be interesting. And he brought up a good point. I mean, as we reflect on the 4th of July here in the United States, it's generally a time where we all come together, whether it be with friends or family, at cookouts, at barbecues, and we celebrate the founding. We celebrate the birthday of the country, and the left doesn't like that. That's why we see so much of they don't want us to have national pride. And again, we get that because of the globalization of it. On a symbolic level, national pride is slowly replaced with these other types of pride, Black pride, the gay pride, transgender pride. They don't want the American flag. They have these other flags because when you replace national pride with these other types of pride, they can be applied globally. Absolutely. National pride is just for America. But if you say, well, no, it's no more national pride, we have Black pride or gay pride. Well, you can say that in Canada. You can say that in Australia. You can say that in the UK. It's no more specificity specificity of global pride. I'm sorry, of national pride, and that creates globalization, which is what they really want, one world order. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's actually very Marxist to have these international days.
Mm-hmm.
So Marxists have come up with a bunch of international days. For example, like International Women's Day, that came directly from Marxism. You know, the May Day, the Workers United, you know, May 1st, things like that. And so yes, these globalists, they're definitely anti-national holidays, and they will push for these like divisions, like racial pride, for example, because that makes sense, because you can have racial pride everywhere in the world. It's not specific to America. And one of the things that really affected me recently, where they were having these man on the street interviews, and they would ask Black people what is more important, Juneteenth or 4th of July, and a bunch of them would say Juneteenth. And I mean, it's like, and then there's this push for this idea that 4th of July is somehow a racist holiday. And I mean, we can celebrate Juneteenth and acknowledge that date, but that doesn't mean that it minimizes. In fact, 4th of July is the birth of this country. Like, we wouldn't have all the other things that happened. We wouldn't have the Civil War that happened here if it wasn't for the 4th of July, for it being an independent country. So
well,
yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You're exactly right. So that's why we have to push against this. We really do. We have to push against this division. Again, you know, with the communists, the Marxism that has infiltrated the Democrat Party. It's all about divide. It's all about chaos. And they need those things to blow up the country and then push forward a new world order, globalization. And that's why we see it's little prickles of it all over the place. And we just have to call it out, as we do a lot on this show, because they look forward to us not doing that. Because again, they always try to do these things, and they act as if it's not what it is. And so we have to call it out, which we do. And speaking of that, we want to move right along to this viral video that took place here of the arrest of a woman. Do you know where it was? Either of you know where the
I'm not sure where it was.
Okay.
I wasn't able to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We captured this video here of a lady being arrested, and she's resisting pretty vehemently. Take a look here. Pulling this back up now. All right, here we go.
I give you every opportunity. And I stated to you, I'm gonna wait till your friends come. Don't touch me, and I'll get out.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I'm not moving. Shut up, bitch. Move.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. Don't put your hands on me. I said I was gonna do it.
Get off me.
Then move.
Punch me in your face.
Okay, do it.
I got this hand.
I think it was in Georgia.
Okay.
On the ground.
Why you give me time? Thank you, guys.
Get on the ground. This didn't have to be like that. Get on the ground.
Give me a second. I'll get on the ground.
Get on the ground now.
Oh, honey, we don't have phone.
This is crazy.
Get on my foot. Get on my foot.
Get off his foot. Get the fuck off his foot now.
Stop resisting.
Get up.
No. Fucking grab under my foot.
Wow.
Let go of my foot.
Let go of his fucking foot.
Stay back. Stay back.
His foot now. Get off the foot now. Get off his foot now. You don't get that big
Good.
Oh yeah, 700.
I got this.
It takes 4 cops to give me that.
You got this one?
The yellow one. Ready?
Yep, I got this one.
Oh, Lord.
Stop resisting and give your arm. Give your arm now! No, but for my face because I get on camera. It's on camera, ma'am. We're all on camera. Are we? Yeah. You fucking cops not turn on your camera. I said I'll wait.
Listen. So here we are. I don't know what caused that.
Yeah.
But we see this time and time again, and it feels like it's happening more often. People are resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Shelly, what are your thoughts on this encounter here?
Like I said, I think it was in Georgia. I saw that early today, and I don't know if I had I'm not gonna say a different. I had a little bit a way I was framing it, and I even had a comment on the video, and I expressed that I was frustrated, sad, and angry, not calling the police racist at all. But I looked at it from a few different perspectives. This whole context, this whole climate of particularly Black people being this adversarial from the beginning, from the get-go with police, almost unprovoked, right? What really spoke to me was when I heard that officer say it didn't have to come to this.
Mm-hmm.
On a human interest level, this is how I was mostly responding. On a human interest level, that man did not want to, and that other officers, whatever, they did not want to, what I call, wrestle and wrangle that woman like cattle. Nobody, no human being, no normal human being wants to see another human being handled like that by police or by anyone else, right? That doesn't mean that the police were not justified. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying ultimately is that Black people in particular, people that look like me, we as a group, if you will, as a culture, certainly, we have to, I'm going to say, rethink and revisit this anger at the police, who we call out, who we need to police our communities, because we can't even walk down our own street safely if it wasn't for these people doing, policing our areas. This has got to stop. We are getting more and more of people that look like us harmed, put in harm's way with the police. It was a traffic stop. All she had to do was get out of the car. And if they were in the wrong, because police have been in the wrong sometimes, okay? I'm not saying that they're all innocent. They, as a group, I think they have contributed in some way to this anger, this adversarial relationship. However, she should have just gotten out that car. That's all she had to do.
Yeah. I have been pulled over multiple times. I travel quite often, and I've been pulled over in multiple states and have never had an interaction even remotely like this. This is crazy. And before I get you in here, Yana, I did look up some statistics on this. According to data compiled by Police Scorecard, which is a leftist site, between 2017 and 2021 fielded over 30 million calls for service and 1 million arrests. This was in New York City, which is a high profile place where people get interaction with the cops. NYC cops fired their weapons in just 0.02% of arrests and used force in 3.5% of arrests. Right. In other departments, force rates were even lower. So I say this to say, this idea that Black people have that the police are adversarial or they're going to harm them. And again, it does happen, but it is not the norm. It is not a normal occurrence. Like the left continues to paint, and they're causing people to act as like she did.
Yeah.
Yana, what's your
it's psychotic, and I see it too often. Like, there's so many videos on the internet, and it's primarily Black people behaving ridiculous when it comes to an arrest, when it's absolutely, in fact, a lot of times arrest would have not even happened. So a lot of times it would be, traffic stop, they're just questioning the person, and then for some reason the person becomes psychotic and does something they're not supposed to do. And then when it comes to the actual arrest, they keep resisting as if the cops will just be like, oh, okay, never mind, she's too strong, we're just gonna let her go. Like, what are they thinking? Like, I mean, what? It's only going to get worse. So like, what? Like, it's ridiculous. It's like no brains whatsoever.
We just had somebody from Pasadena, Maryland, I believe he's saying they're from, and he's right. And that's another thing.
That's right.
They don't even show all the interactions with where the perpetrator or the police are interacting with white people. And things like, some things happen and everything. It always only show this stuff between black perpetrators and white police officers.
Well, I want two things I want to mention. Or Roland Fryer, in his I don't know what you want to call it, his very important research, he did demonstrate that on the data, in the numbers and in the context, that blacks and Hispanics have more frequent or police, I forget how he worded, police with blacks and Hispanics are more likely to use force, to have force and I don't know, whatever kind of interactions. That's not the shootings. Okay, they have more forceful shootings with blacks and Hispanics. That's number one. John McWhorter, I think it was his first book, but I know it was sometime early 2000s. In his book, I think it was Losing the Race, where he talked about the police and the police relationships with the black community as one of the last vestiges of the civil rights era that we are going to have to confront and own. Black people in general and the police are going to have to own some of their parts. So this, what I'm saying, is not out of the blue. And again, I'm not blaming these officers in this case, but I'm talking about a larger context. Yes, police, some of their actions have contributed to this anger, but black people, by and large, in the black community where I frequent, we have this, I guess, this idea, this thought that we have been groomed that the police are automatically against us, and that's not true. That is a hype of the media in many, many cases.
Right, and Coleman, the gentleman that was on The View a couple weeks ago.
Coleman Hughes, right?
Yeah. He talked about this and saying, I believe it was prior to 2019 or in 2019, we had this, there was a sentiment or going around that racism was on the decline and things like that. But with the advent of social media, these viral videos that go around perpetuating this idea that the police are out to get us, now we have a total opposite view of race relations, of the police. And, with the BLM and things like that, it's just gotten totally worse.
It just doesn't make sense to me, though, because if you really think that the police is going to be, I don't know, violent, will potentially kill you, I mean, would you behave that way? It doesn't make sense to me, because really, I come from a place where the police can actually beat the hell out of you, even if you say the wrong word. Mm-hmm. So, and people over there, where I grew up in Belarus, people are very, very low obedient, especially on the roads, because of the fines, but also because if they do say anything wrong or try to fight the police, I mean, I don't know if they'll come out alive sometimes. I mean, they'll definitely be really hurt.
And well, Yana, to your point, what you're asking is, why are they fighting back? But to your point, what it is that they're already on defense.
I understand that, but
no, so they're already on defense. They already come off as if they have to protect themselves. But if Yana said she didn't understand why, I'm saying that's why.
But what she's saying is, I understand what Yana's saying, and she's saying
they think they're gonna kill them. I think they think that they can get away with this and create a scene.
Oh, I believe that too.
In fact, a lot of times they want it to be recorded, especially if there's someone else with a camera. They're acting even more crazy and resisting even more, because then it's going to be a sensation. It's going to make the news, and I really don't think they're that afraid.
Yeah, that makes sense because she's saying though that in Belarus where the police do beat people.
Yeah, they have these sticks and they'll beat
They're
them
not
up
going to push back against them because they know you will get hurt in an interaction with the police. Here we're seeing the opposite. You have these people who are saying, I'm afraid of the police, yet they will be aggressive with them.
I hear what you're both saying, but what I'm saying is that unlike in Belarus, the police have a fear complex to instill fear. They can beat the people and really the people have no recourse. Here, the people are on defense as Americans with a constitution. They're already on defense. I'm not saying that it should be warranted. I'm just saying that's what they are. So they're on the defense.
Yeah, they know that they're gonna. Yeah,
I think they're just. I mean, yeah, they're putting up a scene.
That's part. I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. That is a good point. So yeah, it's terrible. Whatever it is, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. This is ridiculous.
Because people actually end up getting hurt. Like, I mean, first, they're so dramatic, and then some people do end up getting really hurt from this type of behavior.
Oh yeah, and it's not even just with the police. I mean, women in general lately have become so aggressive with men. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the water, but it's just like they want you to get aggressive with them. Yeah, it's just I don't understand
when there's a vacuum of masculine men, I'm talking about masculine in a good way. When there's a vacuum of masculine, there's a vacuum, something's going to fill it no matter what.
Well, you could be right. Yeah. All right. Well, we will continue to follow this story and see what happens with this very tragic story.
It really is.
It's sad to see something like that. It was so unwarranted.
I think she's okay though. I mean, nothing else happened to her, so I think she'll be fine.
Right. She just ate pavement.
Basically.
Yeah. So I want to get to Charlie Kirk, but prior to that, I want to show you guys. This is a little lighter video, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So you all have not seen this video yet. But this is a situation. Well, I'm going to just show it to you, and then I want to get your thoughts on this exchange. Take a look here. This is a true story. This is something that actually happened, caught on video.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I saw that.
So this guy is kissing this person randomly at a bar in Miami.
I did see that. I've seen that.
Going around kissing everybody. Bartenders filming. There they are again. I think I'm about to kiss this person. The bartender is filming.
You're the fourth guy she kissed. You're the fourth guy she kissed.
I don't care. That's a lot of.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the bartender saying this.
You're the fourth guy she kissed. You're the fourth guy she kissed.
I don't care. That's a lot of girls.
Now he says, I don't care. I kiss a lot of girls.
Right.
Right.
Oh! I don't care. It's a lot of girls. That's not a girl. I know. Hey, you know that's not a girl, right?
It's not a girl.
That's not a girl. The girl you kissed, it's not a girl. And you're the fourth guy he kissed.
Really?
He. That's a he. The girl he kissed, that's a he. That's a he. That's a he. You're the fourth guy he kissed.
it again.
Said 4.
So
Yeah.
there it is. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
You see what happens here, and I mean, good Lord, this is the stuff people will have to contend with. I want to start with you, Yana, on this. I mean, what is your response to that?
It's dangerous these days for guys in the clubs. I mean, you can't barely see anything. The guy's drunk. I mean, back in the day, the worst thing that could happen, they would make out with somebody ugly. But now they're gonna make out with someone who is the same sex as them, so, without desiring to do that.
He's a man, baby. He's a
Oh my
man.
gosh. I mean, the guy looked I mean, he was drunk, but he realized and he was traumatized.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can tell.
he was like, oh, like I want to wash my mouth. And I mean, his night was over at that point.
What are your thoughts here, Shelley?
It tells me, it reinforces to me that even though, you know, I drink sometimes, whatever, but he looked like he was drunk, maybe high, but I don't think he was gay. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, so I saw, when I saw that video, I don't know, when I saw it a couple days ago, some people were commenting that he's gay. I think this has less to do with him being gay, and it does have more to do with, if you're going to be somebody, what they call a dick pretending that you're a chick, it should be stamped across your chest, your face, so that people will know that they have informed consent.
Well, my thing is this. First of all, this is the culture that you find yourself in. I mean, he's very intoxicated. I mean, really, you could tell he was drunk. Miss Thing looked like she was drunk too. So, you know, why are you in a bar just kissing random people like that? That's number one. I mean, why are you doing this?
I mean, that's been going on for a long time. I mean, this type of behavior, it happens all the time. It's just now it's more dangerous because now you have these trannies walking around and pretending to be women. And you know what? A lot of guys might have kissed other guys without realizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you hear some stories. I mean, I don't want to get you guys' thoughts on this because, you know, we don't condone violence here. We don't condone violence against women, of course not. But what if he, you know, some men went upon, let's say he wasn't so drunk. Let's say he was sober. Some men, upon finding out that, would have gotten very violent with that trans person.
This is why I say it should be, and she should be wearing something. They have informed consent. That's what I'm saying. If she's going to, well, let me take that back. If he's going to parade like he's a woman and he doesn't tell whoever this prospective partner may be, that's called fraud, forced fraud and coercion. So there should be something legally, and if not morally, to say that I have to tell you that no, I am not a woman. I may look like one. I am not a woman. Or I'm not a man, I may look like one. So this is going to get people hurt.
But there's this whole push, you know, for trans women and women. And so they don't feel like they need to be telling people who they are. I mean, he thinks that he's a woman, and so he's going to behave like one, he's going to present like one, and he wants to be treated. I mean, but apparently the bar knows, like the bartender knows.
That's a good point too.
But yeah, definitely it is dangerous, and the guy could have, if he was less drunk, it could have turned violent, possibly.
Yeah, certainly could have. All right, moving right along. I want to get into this final video with Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk was doing a rally or talk, and he's talking about people specifically in California, but people that live in liberal leftist states. And is it worth is it worth conservatives still continuing to try to push conservative values and rally in these states, or should we just give up and leave these areas? And this is personal for us because we're here in Maryland. Maryland is probably maybe even more liberal than California. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Before we move on, I do want to acknowledge our super chatter here. All right, we got another one. Oh, LAPD SWAT. Oh, because we're about to go to California here with this next story. He says, are you going to buy April Ryan's book, Black Women Will Save the World? Do you guys have a contingency plan if JB Dems win? How bad do you think things will get? That's a good question. Speaking of this next segment we're going into. Well, no, I'm definitely not buying April Ryan's.
No, her book's been out for a while. No, but I'm not buying it.
No. And do you guys have a contingency plan if Joe Biden or the Dems win? Whew. Oh my gosh.
Well, we already live in Maryland, so
yeah. We are in Maryland, so it's already left us here. But I think it's going to get pretty bad, guys. I really believe that, because if he wins, then the left and Democrats will believe they have a mandate to do whatever they want. It's going to be open borders like you won't believe. And it's just, I think it will be the Supreme Court. Hopefully they can last, at least the conservative ones, another 4 years. Because if they get, that's been really the last. I mean, I know conservatives haven't been totally excited about all of the rulings that have come down from the Supreme Court, but most of them have been constitutional. They have been, on the lines of the Constitution. So if one of them leaves, we're going to be in a world of trouble. But I want to get into this video with Charlie Kirk here. All right, take a look. Let me see here.
One of the keys to saving California is continually getting the churches to rise up and to speak truth. And we have some pastors here in the audience that have done such an amazing job. James Cadiz was here, Rob McCoy, Jack Hibbs, so many phenomenal people. And then, look, if you believe California is your home and is your future, then don't allow someone to just automatically take your future and your home from you. Fight for every inch. And I believe that it's going to be a long-term project, but there's a lot more hope for California than I think people realize. Thank you.
All right. So, that was it in a nutshell. He says we should stay and we should fight. And he also mentioned, as you saw, the churches trying to change the style and the function of the churches. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
I agree with him. Look, as an American, I'm not angry for anyone that moves. That's your choice. You can move from state to state or even out of the country. That's a given. But if you're moving within the borders or the states of America, the USA, we have to be thinking that really no matter where you go, every state has been infected by leftism, right? There's no little hideout that you can go and just, make yourself totally oblivious, if you will, to all the things that are going on. Because number one, if our government is not limited, they will continue to take our land, to impose all kinds of exorbitant fees and taxes and all of these rules and regulations where we cannot, as Americans, run our own lives. That's number one. Number two, it's important, what he's saying is ultimately it's important for conservatives, Republicans, libertarians, independents to vote down ballot. Because even if Biden, God forbid, is reelected, we still have a Congress and a Senate that we can control so that he will not be able to run carte blanche. That shows the importance of voting down ballot as well. Again, the president is important as he is. We still have 3 branches of government. And the Supreme Court justices, as you mentioned, KJ, just health-wise, I hope that they would live through the next 4 years as well. So that's my spiel.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yana, what are your thoughts there? Should we stay and fight, or should we move out of these leftist states?
I mean, I agree that it's better to stay and fight. I mean, of course you can move, and if you feel like you can be stronger and maybe, I don't know, there's an opportunity to be more involved in something politically in another state. But if you're already involved politically in your state, then keep on fighting. And responding to one of the super chatters that we had about what do we think about the next 4 years if Trump doesn't win. I think, we have to keep on fighting. We have to be strong and not feel like, oh my gosh, this is it. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll just leave the country. I mean, that's just not going to work for America. So we hopefully the worst things get more, maybe Republicans will be more united. So that's one of the things that we need to really be better at, is being more united, being, I guess, in the weird way, kind of take lessons from the left, and being like Charlie Kirk said, empower the churches, be more united um, in our goals and plans and our values, and not to have too much division or bickering amongst ourselves. So that is something that everyone, all conservatives in each state, should be doing.
Yeah. And like you all mentioned, I mean, we've been saying this on this show for a while now. If you concede ground, they're just going to take more territory. And many of these things that the left are pursuing are not just things that go on within the cities or in these liberal states. Right now, there's a war against the farmers. I'm not sure if you guys have been following Glenn Beck's reporting on what the left is trying to do to these farmers and to our food supply, but it's stunning. And they're not in the cities. Most of those are not in these liberal areas. They're in the rural areas. And they're trying to put these independent farmers out of business. We as conservatives, as patriots, as America-loving people, as I say at the beginning of every show, we must stick together. And that means I don't care where you are. If you're in liberal California, if you're in liberal Maryland, wherever you are, New Jersey to New York, if you love the Constitution, if you love freedom, then we are all one. We need to come together, stick together, and find a way to push back against these commies, because that's what they are at this point. They're communists. So yeah, that's what we need to do. And it starts at the local level. It does. It starts at the local level. We can't concede any ground in the cities either. We have to continue to fight and push out the truth to these people, and hopefully more and more people will wake up.
Right.
Yeah. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you guys so much. Let me see here. Abraham. Oh, was it Abraham? Okay.
Yeah.
He says, I so agree, family. It's not just Trump in the election. It's about good and evil, family. Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you, Wynn.
Yes. All right. You have here midlife
bro logic. Midlife bro logic.
Bro logic. Okay. Says, did you sub to Midlife Bro Logic and contact me for a collab?
Okay.
More into another out in these YouTube streets, trying to get rid of Brandon Scott. Oh yeah, we'll definitely reach out.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. We out here in these streets.
Yeah. Max Deplorable 2A says mentally ill. Joyless Reid was still fugly, but she honestly did look better with Trump hair. Trump 2024, you ladies rock. Oh, thank you, Max Deplorable. You know what, guys? I thought she looked better without the wig. I think she looked better with the bald eagle.
Did you mention you forgot? Did you get Abraham?
Yeah, we
didn't read that one.
I don't think we read it earlier, but
maybe. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. He says, if a draft occurs, biological sex will be fashionable again.
Yeah. forget the women's rights, right? Because
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's where we are on that, and Charlie Kirk is doing great work all over the country. We certainly appreciate all that he does with Turning Point USA and the conservative movement. So that does it, but I have I wanted to end on a positive note, and I thought this story that I found of a loving dad, he's a great parent. I thought this was a great video to end with us tonight, because we don't talk about these types of positive stories enough. And this was a viral video of a dad picking up his daughter from school. I guess she was graduating high school. This was the last time he was picking her up. But there's a little backstory to this and why she was so emotional with him picking her up from high school for this one last time. Take a look here.
I didn't know it would get this emotional.
He's crying.
I had to keep singing so I wouldn't start to cry.
Even though I was embarrassed for all the daddy-daughter pickups, I just remember it being dang, this is the last time he's gonna come to my high school and embarrass me. And I started getting really emotional.
Oh, don't make me cry. I was like, I have to stay in character. I have to sing. But when I saw her, she broke me down. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I think once I got in the car, I was like, all right.
So he's been doing this for the last several years.
My pickup videos they're very energetic. They're very spontaneous.
When it started out, she didn't like it.
Embarrassment. I started doing it in junior high and middle school, but I never recorded it. But her friends will record me, and I didn't get out the car. So I will pull up and drop her off and be like, yeah! And they'll be like, go, Mr. Smith, go, Mr. Smith. My son, one day, he had a bright idea, and he was like, you know what, Dad, this time do it and get out the car, and I'm going to record you. It's going to be crazy. And after I did the first one, I said, was that embarrassing? How do you feel? And she was like, yeah, but it's cool.
So he's been doing this all these
Originally, we
years.
didn't really have costumes, and he would just get out the car and just embarrass me. So I was like, okay, it's not that bad. And then I think once I start to get a little bit comfortable, he adds another layer of embarrassment, either dancing or crazy costumes or wigs and stuff like that. So I was just like, okay. I mean, it started to get less embarrassing. This is what he does. This is who he is.
Oh my God.
I don't do it for embarrassment. I'm a real involved dad. I'm involved in every aspect of my children. I have 4 children in all of their lives. I'm at every play she's done, every awards assembly, every football game for my son, I'm there all the time. So I want them to see an involved dad, and I pick them up. I take pride in picking up my children. There's a stigma, or there have been a stigma on Black men as fathers. And I just want them to see that, whatever you thought about a certain demographic or a certain race of men, that's not true for all Black men.
Cute.
Even though I was
That was sweet. So
That was cute.
yeah, wasn't that so cute? Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I mean,
It
that's
kind
a
of
lot
reminds
of
me of somebody I know.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny, but it was just you do hear this narrative about Black fathers, Black men. And so this definitely goes well against it. And I wanted to end on this really nice note. We need more fathers within, not just in the Black community, but in general. Right. We definitely need strong men, strong fathers, strong figures, strong and good examples for the youth to look at. And this was a great one. This was a great.
That was cute.
Yeah, I mean, he really showed that he loves her, because it's not just, I mean, the thing is that you don't even have to do that much. If he just went and picked her up each day, that's already doing a lot. But he just went another step, to come up with these costumes, this like elaborate way to greet her. And I can imagine that this is what she's anticipating throughout the day. And like that is amazing, that feeling that your parent will always be there. Like
Right.
not a lot of kids have that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. And that is what builds confidence in young people, knowing that you have someone that's showing up. That's all it's about.
Yep.
Just showing up.
Yeah, that was cute. I loved it.
Yep. All right, ladies. Well, that does it for us tonight. I do want to acknowledge, I believe we have another super chatter here. Let me see. Did we?
No, I think we got them all.
Oh, we did. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. Again, thank you guys for watching. We will be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. So definitely come on in and check us out. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Again, this is Poppin' Politics. I'm KJ. Any last words, final words, ladies, before I let you go?
No, just have a good weekend, everybody. I enjoyed myself yesterday so much. I'm doing it again on tomorrow.
All right.
Have a good weekend. Be united. Connect with like-minded people. Don't be discouraged.
All right. That's perfect. As I always say, wishing you, I'll say that on the other show. No.
Good night.
Good night. Yes.